Hi, welcome to our Stress Less with Mindfulness series. Today is session 1, and I'm going to be talking about mindfulness and mindful eating. So let's start with the definition of mindfulness. Mindfulness has 4 qualities, and they're simple, yet they're very powerful. So it is defined as paying attention on purpose in the present moment, meaning here and now, with a non-judgmental attitude, and also as if your life depended on it. It is about each moment and the power of simply bringing an open and receptive attitude of acceptance to our experiences. When we think about the concept of mindfulness, we're talking about the act of being aware of our surroundings, being aware of what's currently going on and what we're doing in that moment. Have you ever been driving down the road and all of a sudden forgotten that you're almost at your destination? Or have you ever sat down for dinner and ate so fast that you forgot what you ate or how good it tasted? These are examples of what happens when we're not mindful. Mindfulness, again, is the act of paying attention to what is happening in that moment. You live in the moment and think about the current experience. Thoughts of what happened in the past and what might happen in the future are put aside. Studies do suggest that being mindful can also help lower stress, depression, and anxiety, and it may even improve your overall health. It is not, however, a cure-all. No matter what you might read on the internet or social media, mindfulness will not cure major depression, and it won't get you a better job or a higher salary than your current one. I'm going to show you a video and let you hear what mindfulness is from the author himself.
Mindfulness is actually a way of connecting with your life. And it's something that doesn't involve a lot of energy. It involves kind of cultivating attention in a particular way. So the way I define it is it's paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And then I like to add sometimes as if your life depended on it, because it does. Attention is the faculty that allows us to navigate our lives in one way or another and to actually know what's happening or know that we don't know what's happening and find ways to be in a wiser relationship to things that are going on in our lives than being at the mercy, say, of our own emotional reactions and crazy thoughts and fears and so forth. So it's paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, as if your life depended on it. So paying attention to what, you might ask? Well, it doesn't actually matter. It's the attending itself that's important, more important than what it is that you're paying attention to. But that said, if you start to pay attention to how much attention we pay to anything, you begin to notice that the mind is all over the place. It never sits still. It's got this idea and that opinion and this reaction, and we spend a huge amount of time planning and worrying about the future, and a huge amount of time reminiscing about the past and who did what to whom, or why it worked out this way, or why it didn't work out this way. And the present moment, which is the only time that we're ever alive in, the only time we could learn anything, express any kind of love or emotion, the only time we could be in our own body, the only time we can see or hear or smell or taste or touch or communicate, is now. And yet the present moment gets completely squeezed out by all of our preoccupation with the future and the past. When we start to pay attention to our own mind and our own body, it's like reclaiming your life. Mindfulness is not a technique, although there are many, many different ways to cultivate mindfulness. It's actually a way of being embodied, being in some sense in equilibrium with the comings and goings of the outer world, and even the comings and goings and the ups and downs of having a body, which of course has its wonders and is also at sometimes seriously problematic when we're dealing with health problems of one kind or another, or things that can happen to the body. And as long as we have this capacity for awareness, why not develop it? Much of the time, if you think about our educational system and how we grow up, we are trained more and more and more to get into thinking. And thinking is wonderful stuff, very powerful. Some of the greatest achievements of humanity come out of thought. and out of imagination and out of creativity. But the other piece of it that's equally as powerful as the capacity for thought is the capacity for awareness. But we get no training in awareness and attention, huge amount of training in thought. So a lot of the time when we get into bed at the end of a long day, we can't deal with our thoughts and we can't sleep. They just kind of perseverate over and over and over again, the same thoughts. We want to shut them out. The more you try to shut them out, the more they come in, and pretty soon you don't get to sleep, or you wind up with, basically chronic anxiety or some kind of condition or other. Depressive rumination can spiral you into depression, a little bit of sadness, and then that triggers this kind of perseverating constantly, what's wrong with me, why don't people like me, why didn't she look at me, whatever it is. These are all thoughts. I'm no good, I'm too old, my life it's all downhill from here. All of those things, they're only thoughts, but most of the time we think of them as the truth. So what mindfulness does in a way is it embraces the actuality of the mind, the heart, the body, and our relationality with the outer world, and gives us new degrees of freedom to navigate the ups and the downs and the ins and outs of our relationships with life, with other people, with our own aspirations and our own fears, and also, and most fundamentally, with our own body. Now, most of us don't want to go anywhere near our own body except under very specialized circumstances at particular times. It seems like, wow, it's wonderful to have these bodily experiences. But a lot of the time, we're just pretty much up here. Thinking, and really believing so many of these thoughts as the truth that we wind up in a very narrow band of what's actually possible for us in terms of our human experience.
Okay, so noticing is the foundation of mindfulness. Mindfulness begins with noticing. You can't change if you don't notice how it feels when you are stressed. We are calling this personal signals stress barometers. And it can be quite helpful if you're aware of them and you start to recognize them. How do you notice when you're out of balance? You get stress cues. It's important for you to recognize what they are in you. So there's a handout, personal stress barometers. These are signals to be mindful. You can go through this handout and circle the cues you've noticed, or just read here. In your body, do you notice a change in appetite, headaches, muscle pains, a tired feeling? Are you sleepless? Cold, upset stomach, rashes, or hives? In your thoughts, are you forgetful, confused, you can't concentrate, your mind is racing? Are you bored, spaced out, or just have a bunch of negative thoughts? Your feelings, are you anxious, edgy, sad, frustrated? Do you have mood swings? Are you irritable? Are you worrying? Are you discouraged? It's important that you notice and circle or jot down which ones of these you recognize in yourself. In your relationships, do you just want to be left alone? Are you lonely? Are you resentful? Do you nag? Do you distrust? Do you clam up? Do you have anger outbursts? Do you have a lower sex drive? And then what about your spirituality? Do you feel empty or loss of meaning, or do you feel unworthy or doubtful? And also your behaviors. What do you do? Are you engaging in risky behaviors? Do you smoke more? Do you increase use of medicines? Do you drink more alcohol? Do you yell, tick, slam doors, have accidents? It's important that we start to notice these stress barometers so that we can acknowledge that we're feeling stressful before it gets too bad and out of hand. It's the attitude of not judging ourselves, but becoming aware of what we go through and our triggers so that we can change our patterns and our reaction ultimately. Autopilot is the way we typically respond to things, which we've discovered through naming our stress barometers. Our brain is wired to go down the same pathways we've always used before. We don't even pay attention to anymore. So what we're trying to instill in you all is to pay attention to it. We have the same thoughts and feelings. We behave the same way as we always did. Mindfulness offers a way out of this trap for us. The first step is to notice those stress cues, which can be signals for us to take a breath and take some mindful moments, doing one of the practices in this course. So remember, we want to notice the body sensations, our feelings and cues. We want to shift. We want to slow down into moment-to-moment awareness by practicing this mindful attention. And then practice. Practice paying attention to sensation. And this should be done daily. How do I practice at home? Well, mindfulness based stress reduction is widely taught, and many universities have free audio for your use. There's online audio resources, there's phone apps that you can Google and we can share with you. We have a list of resources. Also support yourself with a gentle reminder to breathe and center. This will help bring mindfulness to your daily life. Add a mindfulness bell to your phone or your computer or an app on your tablet. When it chimes, bring your attention to the present moment and to your breathing, moving in and out. There's also some websites for downloading the mindfulness bell. You can go to mindfulclock.org or awakenbell.org or mindfulnessbell.org. Be mindful online. So given what we have talked about with mindfulness, what would mindful eating look like? So our next objective is to learn the benefits of eating with mindful awareness. And we're also going to create a personal hunger fullness scale. So we have a guide for sensing when and how much we actually need to eat. So we are mindful when we are eating. Mindful eating is being more aware of your eating habits, the sensation you experience when you eat, and the thoughts and emotions that you have about food. It's more about how you eat than what you eat. Eating without conscious awareness can lead to making unhealthy selections or eating too much or too little. Mindful eating can help us enjoy the experience and make choices that enrich our experiences also. We want to learn to gauge our hunger. We want to try to notice our internal hunger and fullness cues. So we're going to look at a hunger fullness chart. This is a gauge. So here is another handout, and this is how you use it. You take 2 minutes to practice mindful breathing. Okay, close your eyes, follow your breath in and out, and then notice the sensations in your belly. Be aware of whether you're feeling hungry or full. Notice the sensations as signals from your body of physical stomach hunger. Now, what are your thoughts in your images? Are you really hungry? Now open your eyes and gauge where you are on this hunger fullness scale. Are you ravenous? Or are you just no longer hungry? Are you hungry but you really don't need to eat? Maybe there's something else going on. This gauge can help you discover your cues and learn the information to decide when to eat and when to stop eating. Pay mindful attention so you don't get either too hungry or too full. And then remember that eating a snack before a meal can help you feel satisfied. So think about tips. Mindful eating, awareness is a cornerstone, again, of mindful eating. Are you really tasting your food, or are you just mindlessly munching away? The key elements of mindful eating are to observe and notice your body. Is your stomach grumbling? Do you have low energy? Are you just stressed out? Maybe you're eating because you're stressed. Are you satisfied, full, empty? Observe how your body feels before and after you eat. Notice how your body feels when you are truly full. In the moment, be fully present. Turn off that TV. Sit down when you eat. When you eat, just eat. Are you in the moment? Are you fully present? This may mean turning off that TV again and sitting down. Your mantra can be, when you eat, you just eat. Savor. Notice the texture, the aroma, and the flavor of your food. Is it crunchy, sweet, salty, smooth, or spicy? Do you savor food when you eat, noticing the texture, aroma, and flavor? And then also do this in a non-judgmental way. Speak mindfully and compassionately to yourself. Notice when shoulds, rigid rules, and guilt pop into your mind and push those away. We should be non-judgmental with ourselves. Be compassionate. And then try to have a great appreciation for what you're eating. Let's talk about the basics, about aspects of mindful eating. You want to do a belly check before you eat, right? So take 5 deep breaths. Notice if you have that sensation of hunger, maybe some gurgling in your stomach. How hungry are you really? And then think about what exactly you're hungry for. Or are you just bored or stressed? And then assess, check your food. What does your food look like? Notice the colors. Does it look appealing? What does it smell like? Where does it come from? Is it natural and unprocessed, or is it highly processed foods? Is this really the food that you want to eat? Because sometimes if we choose things we don't really want to eat, we're not satisfied. Slow down. Again, this helps you enjoy your food and it helps you be able to tell when your body has had enough. It takes about 20 minutes to register that your body is full. Try putting down your fork or spoon between bites, pausing and taking a breath between bites, and chewing on your food completely. Investigate your hunger throughout the entire meal. Keep bringing your attention back to your eating and your tasting. Assess your hunger and fullness throughout the entire meal. Halfway, you may discover that you're not hungry anymore, even though there's food left on your plate. You may have had enough and you don't need to finish it. Give yourself permission to stop or to continue eating based on your actual hunger and fullness scale. Chew your food thoroughly. Your body will process the food more efficiently. You'll notice your hunger dissipating sooner and a sense of fullness will register in your body. The sooner you're aware of satiety, the less likely you are going to overeat. And savor your food. Take the time to choose the food, again, you really like and would satisfy you right now. Pick food that honors your body and your taste buds. Be fully present for the experience of eating and take pleasure in the experience through your senses. Mindful awareness of hunger and fullness cues. Internal cues can be your tummy's actually growling. Maybe you're not hungry anymore. Maybe your food no longer tastes good. Mindfulness can increase your ability to sense these internal cues by training yourself to notice them. Remember again that noticing is a foundation of mindfulness. Maybe make yourself a list of possible internal cues. External cues. Is your plate empty? Is it lunch break time? So because it's lunch break time, you're just going to eat, even though maybe you're not hungry. Is it TV show over? What are your external cues? Overweight people tend to use external cues more than internal ones. What do you think that means? It means that maybe we're triggered by our TV show. It started, so we're going to sit down and eat. And we may eat the entire time we're watching our TV show. We're not paying attention that if we already have gotten full. We're just eating because we're used to eating at a scheduled time, or we're triggered by some kind of event or TV show again. There's also environmental triggers. We need to be aware of this too. When you just have to have something to eat and then can't even remember tasting what you wolfed down, make sure that you pay attention to the environmental stuff, like the package size, maybe your plate size. Plate sizes should be 9 inches, which is those paper plates, not the plastic ones that are a little bit larger or the styrofoam ones, it's the paper plates. The presence or absence of others. Maybe you like to eat when you're socializing, when you're in a certain location at parties around people. What about variety? At buffets, do you tend to eat more? If there's more food, you tend to eat more. And then what about the cost? We should pay attention to this. Are you bargaining? Are you bargain shopping? Or are you buying the food just because you can get 2-for-1 hamburgers? Do you really need to eat 2-for-1 hamburgers? Are you really hungry? We need to notice these triggers too. And then there's emotional triggers. Let's think about those when we're eating. You can write down, and also this is about your noticing what you're eating. Are you eating to avoid feelings because you're bored? Are you sad or depressed? Are you using it for a distraction? And then what about should eating? Should eating is eating when you really are not hungry or you have pressures from social or mental sources. You're disconnected from your body and your awareness cues. When we are eating at social gatherings, maybe at awards at your school or parties or activities with your kids, we're just should eating, but we're not actually hungry. And we need to eat when we have stomach hunger. And also eat food worth eating. Here's some tips. Eat food connected to its source, not processed foods, natural foods. Eat seasonal. They're fragrant and tasty, hot in the winter, cool in the summer. Check out your farmers markets. Do group or family cooking. Eat healthy, fresh foods with your loved ones. And ask yourself, are you eating to nourish your body? High nutrient foods, of course, are better choices than empty calories like chips or diet sodas, which leave us hungry again in a short amount of time. Maybe choose that nutrient-filled apple rather than that bag of chips. And also notice when you're hungry and make sure that you're not actually bored or distracted or something else. Serving sizes also has a lot to do with it. They've really increased over the last 20 years. We have larger packages, larger plates, larger serving bowls. Our spoons are even larger. Even our pantries are larger. Um, what is notable is that a package and portion size can even increase the consumption of unfavorable foods. We just tend to eat because we have an open package and we don't even realize how much we're eating. Sometimes we focus more on food choice than our consumption of the volume that we're eating. And it can be led to unmonitored, unintended results. If you see it, smell it, and taste it, it can lead to healthier choices. Then also don't forget that your stomach is only about the size of your fist. Okay, so it only takes about a palm of food to fill it. So practice ending your food when you are satisfied instead of stuffed. We eat less when we use all of our senses and eat what we really desire. Also, eat with contentment and satisfaction. There's some tips you learned today, and I hope that you will share these with others. Eat mindfully, stay aware of your body, your food, the atmosphere, minimize your distractions, sit at the table, savor each bite, the smell, the taste. Take your time, slow down, and engage all of your senses. And remember to eat when you're hungry, eat what you're hungry for, understand why you want to eat, taste it, smell it, sense every bite, stop when you're no longer hungry, and again, slow down. When you eat mindfully, we notice sensations, thoughts, or feelings when eating. We shift to a gentle appreciation of our food, and we need to practice daily mindful awareness of eating. Um, Choose to notice. Use routine activities as an opportunity to practice mindful acceptance. Shift to gentle noticing of sensations or thought, and then again, practice this daily. So have a goal for this week. Plan for it. Try to change one thing. Which practice will you use in the coming week? Mindful eating is about progress, not perfection. What is one thing that you can do to help move forward towards mindful eating? And start making one change this week. Thank you for joining us.